Hi, this is Janet Gowan welcoming you to Love Letters Live. And today's guest is a duo. It is Terri Wong with Snowball, and Snowball is her bird. And I'm going to go right to you first, Terri. You introduce Snowball.
So Snowball is an adopted cockatiel. I adopted him 3 years ago when he was 2, so he is now 5. He loves this mirror. It's a little heart-shaped mirror. Thing ever. So anyway, so he loves the mirror, and then generally once he's done admiring himself, then maybe he might whistle, but it's hard.
And then maybe he'll what?
Maybe he might whistle, but then maybe he won't.
Oh, okay. Well, let's talk to you about this. It's so cute. All right. So I want to say, first of all, by way of introducing myself, Terri Dora Wong, that she has been a guest on Love Letters Live talking about her Chinese hats and her own designs. You can see what she looks like. And yes, am I safe in saying that just about everything you made, you was sewn or knitted?
Yep.
And designed and created? She's just a genius, everybody. Okay. And also an opera singer. And if you put Terri Wong into the search site for Love Letters Live, you'll get to hear even more about her. But let's talk about Snowball. You said you adopted. What made you want to adopt a bird?
Well, I've always had birds. I mean, I'm allergic to anything with fur, so I can't have a dog or a cat. And 46 years ago, husband number one bought me a little blue parakeet in just kind of a run-of-the-mill, just a regular bird cage. It was nothing special about it, right? But anyway, that was like a birthday present for me. And I've had feathered friends ever since, for the last 46 years. Yeah.
So I have a question. I have a friend who has I've had friends who have had birds. Mm-hmm. And tell me about their ability to be affectionate to you.
Oh, they're incredibly affectionate. If you get them, especially if you get them really young. When my dad moved in with me, I got a baby parakeet, a yellow one. And I got him, I guess when he was just weaned. And that's actually the perfect time to get them because you can pretty much teach them anything. And he talked like a 2-year-old, complete sentences.
Really?
My daughter taught him to say, "I love you with all my heart and soul."
Oh, and so did he just say that at random?
Yes.
Or did something evoke it?
Well, he would generally say to either me or my daughter. So It was definitely someone that he was expressing his affection to, but he learned all sorts of sentences and phrases and noises, and he learned he can mimic Star Trek noises, and it was just very interesting. And really, other than Snowball, Sunny was probably my favorite bird. I know we're not supposed to say we have favorites. It's like trying to pick your favorite child, but Sunny, he never thought of himself as a bird. He thought he was a human.
I can see that he probably thinks of himself as something there looking in the mirror. Like, what do you think he sees when he looks in the mirror?
Well, I know he sees both of us. I mean, the first time I showed him a mirror, he was like looking behind the mirror, right?
Really? Okay, so let's talk about intelligence, because I remember. Oh, hi, Snowball.
Yeah.
I know the phrase Birdbrain must be a real irritation to you. I don't like it.
It is, because birds are extremely intelligent. If you treat them well, like any other animal, they're incredibly affectionate.
But even if, I mean, first of all, many, many years ago, somebody referred to somebody in my presence as a bird brain. And all I could think of was, bird brain, you try flying.
Well, yeah. And you try doing something interesting. That's right.
And bird song and
bird song and all of that. That's right. Now you're getting all vocal, huh?
Really?
So I didn't have any intention of adopting a bird back in 3 years ago. I was in my favorite pet shop buying supplies for the other birds, and I noticed this bird was in a cage by himself next to the baby parakeets. And so I asked the bird man at Animal Connection, "So what's up with the bird?" He goes, "Oh, the owner brought him in and she wanted to know if I could adopt him out because she could for whatever reason, she could no longer take care of him." And so I looked him over and he looked healthy enough, and I've been going to the pet store long enough that they know they're not going to sell me a dud, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So anyway, basically I didn't have to pay for him. I just adopted him and brought him home, and the poor cage he was in, the former owner knew nothing about birds. She had him in too small cage, so he was kind of, and she was feeding him the wrong food. I've never had a bird with gas. Yeah. When the first time I took him out of his cage, I'm going,
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah. So she
thanks.
was feeding. So yeah, so his digestive system was all
What do you feed
excellent.
him?
So I changed his food. I changed him to the same food I fed the other cockatiels. And within 48 hours, no more gassy bird.
Oh, what do you feed him?
Instead of giving him seed, I give him these little balls of pre-seeded seeds. I mean, there's no shells on them. All the shells have been removed. And then the seeds are kind of stuck together with like a honey kind of a mixture. So so they still have to work for the food. It isn't like, they can just gobble it down. They do have to, they got to keep the beak and trim and all of that stuff. So yeah.
Now
But
he spends a lot of time out of his cage.
he does. He spends all of his time either in or out of his cage. I leave the door open.
Oh, so it's his choice.
It's his choice to come in or out. Okay, no shrieking in the ear. It's his choice. It's his choice to come in or out. Sometimes in the morning, if he hasn't seen the whites of my eyes before, when he thinks I should be up, you hear these footsteps coming down the hallway.
Wow, really?
Yeah, little footsteps.
Does he fly around the house?
He does not. He walks. I have his wings clipped.
Oh, that's
and the reason for that is that, I mean, he can fly, but the wings clipped means that he can't get up enough speed so that if he were to accidentally hit a wall, he wouldn't break his neck.
Right.
I had a bird break its neck. That was tragic.
Oh, that's terrible. So he's not going to fly out a window.
Even if he did, which he hasn't done yet in all the years he's lived here, even if he did with the wings clipped, he's not going to hurt himself.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, he would basically just brush it. I mean, he can't get enough altitude and he can't get enough speed to really hurt himself.
Now, how old is he?
He is now 5.
Okay. So at what age do birds breed? And does he want to breed? Do you think of getting a little
probably
female?
Start breeding them when they're a year or 2 years old. I mean, cockatiels live to be anywhere from 20 to 25.
Uh-huh.
The 2 previous cockatiels that I had that were here when I brought Snowball in, Jason passed at 21 and we had to put Freckles down at 22. Yeah. So it was good. It was good that there were other cockatiels here because they kind of showed him the ropes, because he knew nothing about ladders, like how to climb a ladder. He knew nothing about stepping up on your hand.
Oh, so tell us about how they learn. I mean,
well,
they don't step up on your finger naturally, or they have to be encouraged, or what?
They need to be encouraged. Yeah. And that kind of training, just like potty training a dog, you got to start it when they're young. Now, because I got him when he was already 2 years old, he kind of had to learn by watching the other birds.
Yeah.
So when he watched the other birds step up in my hand, he figured, okay, that must be okay to do that.
So you could see him take that information in?
Yeah. Yeah, I could.
So
because the first time it was one time he was on the floor and he didn't know how to get back up. And then he saw Freckles just climb the ladder and was like, okay. The funny one is the first time I gave him a bath. I don't think his previous owner had never bathed him. So I really had a cleanup job. I mean, he was remarkably healthy considering he was getting the wrong food and not being bathed.
So I don't know about bathing birds. I mean, in the wild, they somehow manage to bathe themselves.
Yes.
To find water and do what?
Yeah, they do. So I bathed the other birds. I would put them on the clothesline. And so I lined him up, and I put him up there on the clothesline and he was going, you guys are getting wet and you like it?
Okay. Do you spray them?
I do. I spray them.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So you can't put them in a sink and use soap and water?
No, because that'll take off the special coating on their feathers.
Sure.
Waterproof and that keeps them insulated. Yeah. So the first time he had a bath, so he's sitting there watching the other 2 and they're hanging upside down, their tails are in the air, they're flapping, they're having a great time. And he's standing off to the side going, And of course, then I point the spritzer bottle at him, right? And he just like, I'm wet. Why am I wet? And instead of spreading his wings out, right, so I could get underneath there, he was just like.
Oh, so that's so you have to get them all over.
Yes, that was his first bathing experience. Okay, the next day I brought him back out. Then he realized that, oh, well, hey, this isn't so bad. So maybe I'll open my wings part way And then by the third day, he was, doing the full on flapping and.
Well, he is really a smart little learner.
Well, it helped that he watched the other birds.
Sure.
I think if I didn't have the other birds to show him the rope, okay, you can see your, okay, all right, fine, here.
He lets you know, doesn't he?
Well, normally he wouldn't keep shrieking, but anyway.
So why do you think he's doing it now? Does he know he's on camera?
Probably. Well, it's like when kids are little, right? And the minute you get on the phone, mommy, mommy.
Yes, I do. And dogs, yes.
So the other thing he's learned is one of my favorite utensils that I use that I actually bought last year when we were in lockdown is a mortar and pestle. And, I pound spices in it. I pound pesto in it and stuff. So when I'm pounding on the mortar and pestle, he's in the other room in his cage pounding on a seed dish. Not in the same rhythm, but he's also doing his.
Wait, so are you pounding food for him though also?
No.
Oh, so if he doesn't associate that with feeding him.
No, he doesn't associate it with food. In fact, he doesn't like people food. Other than bok choy, he doesn't really like people food. I've offered him all kinds of stuff. All my other birds would take a nibble at people food, but not him.
So he's just as happy as can be with his own image. Do they preen by themselves?
He does. He does groom by himself. Yeah,
I can
especially
see
after a bath. When they're wet. Yeah.
Does he know he's handsome?
I think so. I'm just gonna see if we can fix the picture. Yeah, it was getting fuzzy there for a second.
Okay.
Of course he knows he's handsome. I tell him he's handsome every day. Every day.
Now, how does he express love for you?
Just the usual, the little.
Oh, he does. So he's physical with you.
Yes.
Yes. I noticed that he's hanging on to the slope of your shoulder.
Yes.
Without falling off. He's got little claws that do that.
He has little claws. I mean, they say birds are descended from dinosaurs. And if you look at their feet,
you can see it.
They have scaly feet that look almost like lizards. And then you look at the claws, it looks just like a T-Rex claw in miniature.
Sure.
Yeah.
So cute. How does he get along with do you ever take him out?
No. I live 2 blocks from Golden Gate Park and there are hawks and falcons in the park.
Oh, so you couldn't take him on your shoulder for sure.
No, it would be a snack and a to-go box.
Oh, it's a horrible thought. In Chinatown, I used to go there sometimes, walk there sometimes on a Saturday. And there was a particular cafe there where men would come in the morning and they would bring their cages. Do you know about this?
I do know about it. And,
it was like showing their what is that about?
Well, they do that in Hong Kong and Taiwan too. There are public parks where men will gather with their birds. And, the men get to visit and the birds get to visit. The birds get to learn new songs and the men get to show off their new birds.
Well, that's the part I'm interested in.
About showing off the bird? What's interesting, because it seems in Hong Kong and Taiwan, it's only the men that breed the birds.
That's what I think, yes.
Yeah, it is. It's only the men that breed the birds. And so, they'll take them on a weekend or whatever when it's a sunny day. And they have these long poles that they hang between the trees and they hang the cages on it. And all the birds get to visit and they learn new songs. I mean, I have a Chinese canary who every time he molts, every time he loses the feathers and replaces them, comes out with a new song. So twice a year when he molts, his song changes.
Now, is that something nature just does? I mean, he's saying something about, because aren't they born with the bird song that they're programmed for already in them?
Well, they're born learning the songs that their parents sing.
Yes.
Right. So
that's what I've read.
But as they mature and as they get older and as they move away from the nest and stuff, and of course in this house, the birds are exposed to instrumental and vocal music. So so they're listening to all of that. Plus he hears his buddies every morning that come and sit on the atrium roof and sing to him. So they take all of that in and they mess with it. They improvise.
I know you're an opera singer. Yeah. Do you sing with him?
I sing with the canary. Yeah. And on the odd times, I mean, we can probably count on one hand when I've hit a sour note. Well, if I hit a sour note, he will turn around and face the wall.
Oh my goodness.
He can't even look at me. And of course, that's like the worst criticism ever. Oh my God, my bird doesn't like me singing. It's bad. Okay, we'll try again tomorrow.
So interesting. Because you would probably know more people who have birds than I do. I know a few people. When I was growing up, my friend Marcia, when we were little, they always had a bird. They had two. They had lovebirds. I think they were budgies.
Mm-hmm.
And
lovebirds and budgies aren't the same.
Oh, are they? Okay.
They're not. No, lovebirds are like small parrots with a very, very short tail. They're very different than a parrot.
I see. Okay. And budgies?
And budgies is just a shortened name for a parakeet.
Oh, okay. So I think that's what they were, but they took care of each other. They fed each other little seeds.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But I mean, if you want the bird to be people friendly, you generally don't want to pair them up.
I see.
So, I mean, one of the things about the yellow parakeet is that he loved my jewelry. Every morning when I used to get ready for work, he would try to steal the earrings off of the
oh my goodness.
Off of my
they like bright things.
Yeah, they do. And so, when I turned 60 and got tapped to do some print modeling for a book, he had to get in.
Oh, yes, good. There you go.
He had to get in on the photo shoot, which, I told the photographer, I'm so sorry, let me put him away. She goes, oh, no, let him stay there. I'll take a shot of him. So he's immortalized forever in a
he is so appealing. Yes. Now, when you were talking about, I forget what you were talking about, but it occurs to me, you can't potty train a bird.
No, but most of my birds, especially him, he will actually lean his butt out so he's not pooping on me. Kind of like you don't want to soil your nest, you don't want to soil mom.
Right. Yeah,
so basically he'll poop on the floor, but I have hardwood floors. It's really easy to clean up. It takes 2 seconds. Sure. It's not a big deal. Yeah. Sure. So
you said you had a couple of stories to tell about birds you had and something to do with when your dad was.
Yes. So that yellow parakeet that I just showed you a picture of, I bought him home when my dad had just moved in with me. And my dad had never had pets. Mm-hmm. And so this was a whole new thing for him. It was like, I bring it home and he goes, what's that? It's a bird. Yeah. What are you going to do with it? Well, Dad, it's not dinner. I mean, he's big, right?
Small for, yeah, right.
So anyway, so over the weeks, he watched me train the bird and teach him to talk and teach him to come when he's called. And so when I go to work, I was always curious what my dad was doing. And so one day I came home from work and he's sitting in the living room with the bird on his shoulder and they're watching some World War II movie. And so my dad was really hard of hearing, so he would have the volume cranked up. And normally birds don't like loud noises. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know dogs, there's certain decibel things they don't like either, but normally birds do not like loud noises. Huh. Honey loved explosions, car chases, yeah, gunshot. Oh, he was all there.
Did he learn to like that from your dad?
He did. And then every 4th of July for the whole 10 years I had Sonny, we would watch the Independence Day on the 4th of July, the movie with Will Smith. Oh. And he'd be standing on my shoulder. He'd be flapping his wings going, big boom, big boom.
He would say that?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. And, he loved all the James Bond films. I don't particularly like war movies, but, it's just, and he loves Star Trek. So he learned to imitate like the phaser noises and the communicator noise that it makes when you flip it open. I mean, he learned how to imitate all of that. It was hysterical.
They've got wonderful personalities.
Oh, he was so personable. And I swear to you, he thought he was a person in feathers. I mean, when he looked in the mirror and he said, such a pretty girl, he wasn't talking about me. Well, he was talking about himself.
Look at how Snowball's nuzzling your cheeks. Oh,
yeah.
So cute.
The other funny story with Dad was I came home one time and Dad had an ear of corn. It was in the summer when corn was at its height. And so he was at one end of the ear and the parakeet was at the other end. And they were working their way into the middle. it was just the cute, and of course I didn't have an iPhone. I had no way to photograph this, right?
Right.
You know, but I mean, I still see it in my mind's eye, right? You know, this,
Of course.
I mean, it's just, it was adorable.
I have a question for
Adorable.
you because I know that you write. I know you've got a book there, and I know that there are so many things. Have you ever, I mean, I want to write a love letter to Snowball. Have you ever written a love letter to any of your birds? Because here's what I'm thinking. Go ahead.
Well, only to the yellow parakeet, because out of all the birds I've had so far in 46 years, Sonny was just extraordinary. He just was. I mean, occasionally he could be an a-hole, you know. I mean, he liked to boss the bigger birds around. You know, it'd be like feeding time. He would have to eat first. Everybody else could wait.
Did he push them out of the way or what?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. And, you know, he would be like, you know, basically 1/3 the size of them, but he would literally shove them out of the way. And
so I'm just thinking what a wonderful collection that would be in years to come. When you're an old woman and you look back, to have a series of love letters to each of your birds, just talking about I mean, all the things that you just said about them. I think should be put down on paper forever.
Well, I started it. I did. To get ready for today, I did type up some notes to remind myself.
Because I know that you're a good letter writer.
Oh, thank you. Well, you know, the other bird that I have to mention also, if we have time, is when I was first divorced, I asked Monica what she wanted for her birthday. And she said, Mommy, I want a white bird. And of course, you know, I'm a, you know, newly divorced, single mom. I'm looking at the exchequer going, well, I know how much a new cockatiel is going to cost. That's not in the budget. So I pick her up from school one day and we come home and I open the front door and there's a white bird sitting on top of one of my cages. I go, Mariko? She goes, yes, Mommy. Did you leave a window open? No, Mommy.
Oh.
Oh, honey, look over there. She goes, oh, Mommy, you got me a white bird. So I examined the bird. It was mostly all white with a little bit of gray. This guy is all
Wait,
gray.
so how did that bird come to you?
Well, first I examined the bird to make sure it wasn't injured. And then I noticed that the wings weren't clipped. So it had flown in from somewhere.
Oh, it really did?
Yeah. So I clipped its wings and I left my daughter to cuddle with the new bird. And I went upstairs because I lived on the lower level of a Victorian. And I went upstairs to talk to the owner landlord. And I said, so Mark. And the first thing he says is, oh, did you get your bird? What do you mean? He goes, well, I'm standing at the living room, the window's open, and this bird flies in and lands on my shoulder. And I'm walking all over the house, and the bird won't leave me. And I figured, well, it's so tame, it must be one of Terry's. So I just used my pass key and opened the door and put him on one of the cages and locked up. So I go back downstairs and I tell Mariko this, and she goes, so Mommy, can we keep him? I says, well, honey, why don't we put up flyers just in case, you know, because clearly he'd escaped from somewhere.
Yes.
And so we put flyers up and down. And of course, a week later, nobody claimed him. And so he stayed with us for 22 years.
Oh, my goodness.
22 years. Yeah. And if it weren't for Freckles, this guy wouldn't have learned as much as he had learned. He wouldn't have learned what things to eat, how to use a ladder. Okay, fine. How to use a mirror.
That is just the funniest thing. Oh,
God forbid you should forget what you look like.
do you have a mirror hanging in your house where he can just perch somewhere and look at himself, or he just wants you to hold it?
No, he wants me to hold it.
Oh, the look on his face.
Yeah. And he knows it's not another bird. He's learned that now. He does know that's not another bird, but.
Well, first of all, you said that when he first saw it, he saw your reflection and looked. I mean, he could tell.
Yeah. Yeah. He could tell there was definitely not two of me.
Right. There couldn't be two of you.
No, there couldn't be two of me.
No, there couldn't. This is just amazing. I want to thank you for doing this with me.
Well, you're welcome.
I've learned a lot. I'm going to be smiling for a week just at the thought of Snowball. And hollering at you to get in there. Pardon?
I haven't framed this yet, but my friend painted this of us.
Oh, beautiful. Yes. Oh, you sent me that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's gorgeous.
That's the painting. And then this is the photograph that Ari Seth Cohen took that she got.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're just a remarkable woman.
Oh, thank you.
Are remarkable.
I'm going to the framer later today so that I'm going to the framer later today to get.
Oh, good. Good. It's gorgeous. Well, thank you, Terri. Thank you, Snowball.
Oh, can you say thank you?
I'm actually a big fan of writing letters to pets because it's so part of your history.
Yeah, no shouting.
You know, your relationship. Okay, well.
No shouting.
Goodbye. Oh, I'll talk to Snowball. I hope I'll see you again sometime. I hope I'll see you in person someday when this whole pandemic is over. Yes.
Well, I think we should schedule a tea sometime in the near future.
And how would you bring Snowball to a tea?
No, you'd have to come here because I'm
okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
No, sadly, I'm allergic to your dog. I think the only dogs I can be around are the ones that just have hair, like poodle.
Well, they have those little Chinese hairless dogs.
Right. Yeah, but anything that has actual fur, I am
right. Oh, you don't need fur when you've got feathers like that.
Oh, he's gloriously happy. He had a bath this morning. He's all clean and fluffy. Can she see your face? Can you stop looking at yourself for a second? So she
No, he can't. Look at that. He's just going to dive down there to get it. Okay. All right. Goodbye, both of you. Until we meet again. Janet Gallen saying goodbye and thank you so much. And Snowball, thank you so much for just staying part of this and not running away to do something else in the house. Okay.
Well, he likes this fuzzy knitted stuff. It feels good.
Does he?
Yeah.
I'm going to look
closer. Good on the feet.
It's just great. Okay. Well, I'm going to say goodbye for sure. It's hard to let go of a little thing like that. Okay.
I know.
Till next time.